Welcome to this explainer on the closed-loop two-sector flow mechanics. Today, I want you to go ahead and put on your hard hat because we're stepping into the shoes of an economic architect. We are going to build a functioning, beating economic engine literally from scratch. Now, we're not going to look at the messy, super complicated world right outside our window just yet. No, first, we need to look at the blueprint. We're going to examine the pure underlying mechanics of exactly how income flows through a system. By the time we wrap this up, you'll understand the fundamental architecture that drives pretty much every economy on Earth. Let's get started.
You know, to really understand a complex machine, you first have to strip away all the noise. So ask yourself, if we strip away the government and we strip away global trade, what exactly keeps an economy's heart beating? We're going to assume a purely hypothetical, perfectly controlled environment today, a true closed-loop world. In this scenario, there are no taxes, zero government spending, absolutely no exports to foreign countries, and no imports coming in. We are looking at a Model 1 simple two-sector flow, just to isolate the absolute baseline components of economic life.
So in this incredibly simplified world, our machine really only has two moving parts. First up, we have the household sector. Now, households are the ultimate owners of all the factors of production. That means they own the land, they provide the labor, and they hold the capital. Second, we have the business sector, or firms. Firms are the producers. They literally can't do anything unless they hire those factor services from the households to create commodities. It's a completely 100% symbiotic relationship.
Okay, let's dive into this and watch this machine in motion. Picture the solid arrows forming the outer loop of this system. This is what we call the real flow. Up top, you've got factor services flowing directly from the households over to the firms. The households are providing their sweat, their labor, and their land. Then, down at the bottom, the firms take all those inputs, put them together, and produce physical goods and services, which flow right back to the households. This is the physical reality of the economy, right here. It's human effort being exchanged for tangible goods. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what's happening inside that physical exchange. There's a reverse current. We call this the money flow, represented by that inner dashed circle you see. Notice how it runs in the exact opposite direction? When households provide their labor in that upper loop, firms send money back as factor payments. So we're talking wages, rent, interest. Then, in the lower loop, households take all that income and they spend it to buy the goods the firms just made. The goods go one way, the cash goes the other. It's a perfect, continuous, unbroken circle.
And because our system here is perfectly sealed, we can actually establish three unbreakable laws. I like to call these the iron identities. As long as households spend every single dime they make and firms distribute every cent back as income, the flow remains perfectly constant. Number 1, total production will always equal total consumption. Number 2, factor incomes will always equal factor payments. And number 3, a firm's income is exactly, literally, equal to a household's expenditure. The math is just flawless.
But you know, let's be realistic as architects for a second. Our simple Model 1 machine is mathematically perfect, but human beings, well, we aren't. We worry about rainy days, right? So what happens to our perfectly sealed loop when households decide they actually don't want to spend every single dime they earn? What if they decide to squirrel some away in a savings account or, I don't know, stuff it under a mattress? Well, this introduces a massive disruption. Diverting part of their income forces us to upgrade our blueprint to a Model 2 advanced machine.
Let's move to and see how this builds. To handle this very human behavior of saving, we have to drop a brand new component right into the center of our engine, the capital market. This is your banks, your insurance companies, your mutual funds, the whole financial shebang. Now, part of the household's income still flows straight down to firms for consumption, just like before. But another part splits off. You'll see a detour labeled S, making a direct beeline right into the capital market.
And this detour introduces two absolutely massive concepts: leakages and injections. Savings, or S, is a leakage. It's a withdrawal from the active circular flow. It's money that is just not being used to buy consumer goods. But here's the kicker. Banks don't just lock that money in a dark vault to collect dust. No, it flows through the capital market and shoots out the other side as I, or investment. This injection happens when firms borrow those household savings to buy new machinery or build factories, essentially pumping that cash right back into the engine's arteries.
So, the crucial point is that the ultimate equilibrium of our new advanced Model 2 rests entirely on this tiny but incredibly powerful equation S equals I.
For this upgraded engine to run smoothly and not stall out, the amount of money households leak out of the system as savings must be exactly equal to the amount of money firms inject back into the system as investment. The economic contraction from saving has to be perfectly offset by the expansion from investment.
But what if it's not? Well, this perfectly illustrates what happens when the machine falls out of balance, a state of disequilibrium. If the savings lever is pulled harder, meaning S is greater than I, more money is leaking out than being injected back in. When that happens, the economy's total income flow physically contracts and declines. It shrinks. Conversely, if the investment lever is pushed harder, meaning I is greater than S, firms are injecting way more money than households are saving. This forces the level of income up, causing the total flow to expand and grow.
And there we have it. We've built the fundamental architecture. You've seen exactly how households and firms pass the lifeblood of income back and forth, and how the massive forces of savings leakages and investment injections dictate whether an economy shrinks or grows. But remember, savings do not necessarily have to equal investment in the messy reality we live in. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. As you look at the complex economic reality outside your window today, think about this closed-loop blueprint. Which lever do you think is pulling harder in the real world right now? Savings or investment? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing the mechanics around you, and I'll see you next time.